Good morning. Almost afternoon. Well, hello everyone again. Thank you for a wonderful evening. Really appreciated all of you being there together with the elementary and secondary leaders. We had a wonderful couple days with them, and now we're on to you. So we're very excited. Sorry about the late start this morning, but we'll keep working on getting caught up. We might have to skip lunch. Is that okay? No, we won't do that. Unpopular, very. Okay, so we're just going to launch into this first session here. What I wanted to do very quickly, so we've worked with all of you in different respects. A number of you much more extensively and over many years. Others of you very new to meeting you and working with you. And so I want to do a brief introduction to the Cardinal Newman Society. And when I do this, we don't view it as, hey, we want to show you who we are, what our organization does. We view it as you need to know what is available to you that helps your institutions. We're here, our mission is celebrating and promoting and defending faithful Catholic education, and so we want families across the country, across the world, to know about your institutions and to be proud of them, because we are, and we want them to know what you're doing. So when we talk about this, be thinking about, hey, how can I avail myself of this, or how can I work with you guys on these things. The other thing I want to do is there has been our strategies have shifted over time a little bit, and in the 33 years that we've been working with the Cardinal Newman Society, there have been a number of other organizations and other enterprises starting up in Catholic higher education, and that's the sign of a growing and healthy movement. So that's wonderful that there are all these other things happening in Catholic education. A lot of it is on the elementary and secondary level, but there's also a lot of wonderful things happening at the higher education level in terms of new services, new consultants, new opportunities to work with them. So where does the Cardinal Newman Society fit into all of that? And so even for those of you who have known the Cardinal Newman Society for a long time, maybe especially for those of you who have known the Cardinal Newman Society for a long time, we want to make sure that you know exactly where we are right now in terms of our strategy and our approach. Okay? So Cardinal Newman Society launched in 1993, and the purpose was, at the time, entirely higher education, to advocate Ex Corde Ecclesiae, which was issued in 1990. That was my senior year of college for myself. And we were launched out of the crisis, right? So where the Cardinal Newman Society comes from is a deep sense that, number one, that there's certain injustice and harm that has happened over the last 60 years to Catholic families that have sought Catholic education and have done it with the right intentions and have ended up with education that is either a poor formation or even a malformation at many Catholic institutions. So we begin with that. And then secondly, the urgent need that Catholic families have for faithful Catholic education, for authentic formation. It's absolutely vital. And there are two things basically that a parent promises their children. One is physical safety and protection, right? Home, food, all of that. And secondly, to be formed in their mind, mentally, formed morally, formed socially. And they rely on education for that. And when it fails, that's ultimately a failure of their promise to their children, and that's a deep wound that we hear very often with the people that we talk to. And so we begin with that, and then in 2007, after many years of getting to know many of your institutions, Warren Carroll would ask me over and over again, could we do more to promote the good institutions that are out there? And I kept saying, well, that's not really what we do. in 2007, we decided to start doing it, and it's made all the difference, and it's really primarily what we do today. We're still not afraid to talk about the problems. Again, that is the root of why we do what we do. And so we have to talk about why this is necessary to do this work. However, our work is primarily in promoting faithful Catholic education, and that's your institutions. So we uphold the very best education and insist on it, and believe that nothing else is acceptable for Catholic families. Most Catholic education groups focus on, at the elementary and secondary level, they're focusing on the decline of Catholic schools and trying to keep the schools open. We've had a 2/3 decline, more than 2/3 decline in enrollment over the last 60 years in Catholic education, down 3.6 million students. Imagine what a difference that would have made, 3.6 million being educated every year at faithful Catholic schools. And then in terms of the colleges, there's obviously been a radical shift with a number of Catholic institutions that have not maintained their Catholic identity, but then also the many urgent needs of your institutions in terms of demographics, in terms of funding, enrollment, Title IV issues, all of that. So there's a lot going on there. Again, where we come from, our primary concern comes from the decline of fidelity in Catholic formation. What do families need from Catholic education? Since 1970, the good news is that the Church has increased 40% in the United States. We have 40% more Catholics now than we did in 1970. And yet, in that same time, infant baptisms have dropped nearly 50%. Catholic marriages have dropped nearly 75%, and weekly Mass attendance has fallen from 55% of baptized Catholics to 19%. And in 2007, the same year that we launched the Newman Guide, that was the year when Pope Benedict XVI started talking about the educational emergency, about the fact that young people around the world are lost in almost a despair, a loss of, they don't know Christ. They don't know their purpose in this world. And now with the onset of technology and AI and all of that, that only exacerbates that problem. And so he came, and it was actually right here in this room where Pope Benedict came to speak to educators. Some of you, I think, were here. And said that the crisis of reason is rooted in a crisis of faith. And we take that very seriously. That's really where our perspective comes in. We don't start from the perspective of educators at the Cardinal Newman Society. We start from the perspective, really, of the families who have the need for what you do. So, the Cardinal Newman Society promotes and defends faithful Catholic education. That's our mission. We insist on faithful education, we celebrate it where we find it, and we fight to protect it. And increasingly, we're trying to put greater emphasis on that in terms of defense against the corruption by false ideologies, but also the compromises that are attempted or tried to be forced upon us by the threats of violations of religious freedom. Our Newman Guide, we call it the gold standard of faithful Catholic education. It's not that the book is the gold standard, it's that you are the gold standard that we're upholding for everyone to see. Our Newman Guide, all of our work upholds the authentic teaching and practice of the Church, and we follow the vision of St. John Henry Newman, now Doctor of the Church. That's just an aside. I mean, this has just been since the last time we met. St. John Paul II has been named Doctor of the Church and Patron of Catholic Education. When we started the Cardinal Newman Society in 1993, Newman was the author of a book. For us, I mean, it was, yes, he was a cardinal, yes, he was did a lot of amazing things in his life, but for us, it was his idea of a university, and it was from that we took a lot of our understanding of faithful Catholic education. And so for that to have developed, and over that time, my own fondness and reading and understanding of Newman in his entirety has developed. and then to attend his beatification, and then to attend his canonization, and then now he's doctor of the church and could have been patron of a lot of things given everything that he did in his life, but to be now co-patron of Catholic education with Thomas Aquinas. So it's quite extraordinary for us, and if anyone asks you, we asked the Pope to do this, and this is why it happened. Okay. So, other organizations, these are largely, I think, groups that mostly work in elementary and secondary education, but just to give you an example, there are a lot of educations, or not a lot, but there are a number of really good groups out there right now that are working in this faithful Catholic education space from different perspectives, and we think they're wonderful. We think of them as allies. What distinguishes us from them, again, it's that they largely come from the educator side, in terms of, as educators, we're going to try to do this better, we're going to have better classroom teaching, better operations athletics, better emphasis on liberal arts and classical methods, better ministry, religious formation. I think of that as the supply side, in a sense. If you take the supply-demand side of industry, it's the supply side of Catholic education, making it better, making it more attractive, making it more affordable, making it something that families are going to want. So you're trying to improve Catholic education and keep growing. I think one big thing that distinguishes Cardinal Newman Society is we come very much from the demand side. We come from the side of the consumer, right? The people who are looking at your institutions and saying, well, does it serve what I need? And so, again, going back to what I said earlier about those two key points about, on the negative side, the injustice and the harm that families have experienced in Catholic education that doesn't do it well, and then the urgent need for authentic formation and the delight in those institutions where they find it. So we go to the heart of the problem, the lack of commitment to mission of Catholic education, and we believe that ultimately, there are a lot of other factors, but ultimately that's the primary reason why Catholic education has declined, because for a variety of reasons there's been a lack of commitment to the mission of Catholic education, and where schools are rediscovering it, they're by and large flourishing, they're doing well. And so I was talking to someone the other day, I don't know if back in the 80s, if schools had really tried to do that, if they'd have had the same flourishing, if maybe families were as hungry for it then. I don't know, that'd be an interesting marketing, for some of you marketing experts to analyze, but certainly today that's true. And certainly today, families have seen what happens when we have lukewarm institutions and the impact of that. So we take a very strong standards approach. That's why we're trying to develop and clarify our standards in higher education. And we want to be working with you because we want those to be right, 100% right. And we don't want to be intrusive, we simply want to have clear standards for our evaluation. This is basically how we would characterize our strategy today. Advocate, we're an advocacy organization, we advocate faithful Catholic education. We're happy to talk to the media, we're happy to talk to other people. Other organizations don't do that necessarily in the same way, but to champion the cause of Catholic families for faithful education. Secondly, evaluation, basically on behalf of Catholic families to be screening and to be able to say, all right, these are institutions that are truly doing it well and are meeting those high standards. Some of you may be aware that we just acquired a school accreditation program, NAPSIS. It's been around 30 years, focused on independent Catholic schools, continues to have independent Catholic schools, but is now broadened to any Catholic school or independent school that wants to be a part of it, but part of the process is they become Newman Guide recognized. So from my perspective, it means that you're not in NAPSIS unless you're Newman Guide recommended. So the two go together, and Newman Guide recommended schools will have that available to them. A number of states that are starting with school choice programs require accreditation, and so it's a door that opens up school choice to these institutions. It also allows any school that wants accreditation to not have to both go through our rigorous Newman Guide process and accreditation, that they're able to do it basically in an integrated process. Third, celebrate. We want to highlight and celebrate and promote the institutions that are doing it well. And then finally, defend. What you love, you protect, and that's a necessary aspect of it. And the fact is that there are a lot of things coming at us, and a lot of people who would like to see your institutions disappear. And so we want to be there as much as possible to help ensure that your institutions are still there, not just for your sake, but for family's sake. Right? So I am going to now, speaking of defense, I'm going to now introduce Bob Laird, who handles our Newman Guide Defender, and he can talk a little bit more about that.
So Patrick's been talking about protecting and defending, and a couple of years ago we thought, well, what are we doing to defend? So we started, we've always been monitoring the legal policies and ideological issues that impact Newman Guide schools and Catholic schools in general. We do this, and we let the courts know what our opinions are via amicus briefs. And when they ask for requests for comments on regulations and rules and things like that, we're on top of it, and we let them know what we think about it. I'm not sure whether, at least we have a more favorable federal government now that's more actively seeking our opinions on a lot of these things. And we do this with some allies that we have, legal organizations. Nobody on the Cardinal Newman staff is a lawyer. A lot of people think that because I do legal stuff, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. Patrick is all over the legal stuff. He's not a lawyer. But we use Alliance Defending Freedom, a sponsor of this conference. We're very close to Alliance, ADF, Beckett Fund, First Liberty Legal, USCCB, Heritage Foundation, a sponsor, Religious Freedom Institute, Ethics Public Policy, and a lot of other organizations that we're constantly in touch with. There are several meetings here, quarterly meetings here in DC on legal policies, on different things like that we try to stay in touch and know what the Catholic position is and speak to it. So what we do is we gather this information, then we want to distill it to the schools. And we started last June with a newsletter called The Defender. It comes out once a month. The one just went out a couple days ago, a little late. There was this conference that was sort of conflicting with our preparation for it, and we couldn't get it over the finish line. And we do this because many of you guys already have in-house lawyers to handle some of this stuff, and some have outside lawyers that you use, and some are here. But with K-12 schools, they don't have these people. They don't really know. So what this is doing is this is informing them on various things, but we're not just in telling them what to do. We're giving them a strategy of how to fix it. Don't do this. Do that. Have a policy with this, have a policy with that. Greg Baylor's coming today. I'm sure he's good. I know the talk he gives. He says, if you do these, you'll stay out of court. If you don't do this, you'll be in court. So it's that type of stuff that we're trying to do. And one of the things we're doing this year, we're going to expand this year with a little more analysis. And I'm going to be in some of the legal workshops today. Where are you guys out there? And try to see if I can gain some help from you in helping us analyze some of the issues that are coming out. We're expecting the two cases on males in women's sports. Supreme Court term ends in about a week, and there's 11 cases out, and that's one of them. And today is a decision day, so at 10 o'clock today, 15 minutes, I'm going to be running back there and get onto the Supreme Court blog and see if it came out today, and then disseminate it and see what impact that has on people like that. So I'm available. If you're on our email for various things, and I know Nicholas has done a fantastic job into making sure you are, you should be getting the Defender. If you're not getting the Defender, let me know and I'll get it to you. It comes out once a month, and at the bottom of it, if you're new to it, we have a a year in review where we have the last 12 months there, so you can catch up on things. So that's what we do, protecting and defending faithful Catholic education, and I turn it over to Kelly Solomon.
Good morning. I have the dream job here at the Cardinal Newman Society. I'm in charge of the Newman Guide, so I get to promote your wonderful institutions. And I want every Catholic family in America to know about you, to find the right fit for their student, and to thrive in their college years. I directly benefited from the Newman Guide. I know many of the presidents in the room have heard this story. When I was a high school student, I used the very first edition of the Newman Guide that was published in 2007. And I found a faithful Catholic college where I grew in my faith. I started attending daily Mass. I studied the liberal arts, went on to earn my MBA. I competed on the tennis team. And I met my husband the very first day. So coming full circle now, we've been married 12 years, have welcomed several children, and I'm more passionate than ever about the desperate need for faithful Catholic education at all levels of Catholic education. That's why I've been so excited to be involved with the expansion of the Newman Guide beyond colleges into K-12 schools and graduate programs and curricula providers. When we published, we brought back the print edition of the Newman Guide this year. And when we published the Newman Guide, we had 28 K-12 schools in the 25-26 edition of the Newman Guide. We're now up to 73, and we have 100 more in the application process. And so we're thrilled to expand that Newman Guide network and help families find faithful Catholic education at all levels. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things we do to promote the Newman Guide, to spread the word to Catholic families everywhere. As I mentioned, we distributed 40,000 print copies of the Newman Guide, but we also reach hundreds of thousands online with the ebook version that we promoted via social media posts with the ebook version. We also have 30,000 Catholic families coming to our website every month to look for good schools and colleges. We hosted online college fairs in both the fall and the spring. This is the first time we did 2 in 1 year. And this was a great opportunity for families to come online, go into your college booths, chat with admissions representatives, attend live webinars, really successful online events this year. We have our scholarship contest and our Recruit Me program, so we send leads of high school students who come to our website directly to your colleges every month. And in order to be eligible for our scholarship contest, they sign up for that Recruit Me program, and those leads go right to your colleges. Another really fun thing we've started this year is EWTN invited us to begin a weekly Catholic education segment on EWTN radio. So I join host Teresa Tomio every Tuesday morning for our Newman Guide news segment. We talk about the latest in Catholic education, and there's always a way to tie it back to the Newman Guide or the example of what a great school or college is doing to confront whatever issue is happening that week. I've been honored to have several of you come on and share about the incredible things going on at your institutions. Just like the Newman Guide Defender, you should also be receiving our Newman Guide e-newsletter every month. So if you're not receiving that, let us know. We'll make sure you start receiving those. We celebrate the latest schools to come into the Newman Guide. We profile graduates of Newman Guide schools and colleges who are doing such great work, integrating their faith and living out their vocation in whatever career field they've entered. And we send that out to 80,000 Catholic families every month who want to know about what's happening in your institutions and where they can find the right fit for their child. And finally, another way that we're helping spread the word about your institutions is we were awarded a Google AdWords grant several years ago. We spend $10,000 a month primarily promoting your institutions. So if someone's searching for the best Catholic school or college in Virginia, they're probably going to come across our Google ad and directing them to the Newman Guide and all of your great institutions. So I want to talk a little bit about the impact of the Newman Guide. What you all have told me, what other schools have told me, is that they've seen a positive impact on their student enrollment, on attracting mission-fit faculty, on their marketing and communications, and even on strengthening their Catholic identity. So I put together a little chart showing Newman Guide college enrollment over the last decade, and this is really great news considering, I was talking to several year admissions leaders, considering all of the challenges facing higher education today, from the demographic cliff of a lower number of college-age students than there have been in many years, from financial challenges, et cetera. So this is really great news, and we want to keep seeing that growth. Monsignor Shea unfortunately can't be here this week, but I'm happy to see many faces from the University of Mary. And he's outspoken about the Newman Guide and its impact on student enrollment, but also on the Newman Guide's influence on attracting some of the best mission-fit faculty to join his staff. I have so many testimonials I could share from students who use the Newman Guide to find a good Catholic college. Teresa White was one of our scholarship contest winners, and she believed going to one of these colleges is one of the best investments she can make. Another example of a student who used the Newman Guide, I believe he's at Franciscan, and he said it proves invaluable in his college discernment process. Jason Everett is a great champion of his alma mater, Franciscan University, but also of the Newman Guide. He says he tells guidance counselors at the schools he goes to, it's one thing to hear an hour-long talk on the virtue of chastity, but it's another thing to go to a college for 4 years that can really invest in a student's formation and prepare them for life, the life they're living right now and, of course, after college. This is one of our new Newman Guide school principals in Louisville, and he actually had found the school through our old honor roll program that was our recognition for K-12 schools before we began incorporating them into the Newman Guide. And he became a donor of the school just because it was on our list, and he planned to send his kids there one day. Fast forward, he's now the principal of the school. And he told me that already, from just the small time they've been in the Newman Guide, they've had calls from families across the country who are considering moving there because they're one of the Newman Guide schools. In fact, another story is Molly Metzger on our staff. She actually used the Cardinal Newman Society's resources to find the school where she began sending her son and worked at the school before she joined our staff as well. So we're beginning to have a lot of stories like that at the K-12 level. I wanted to share a few pictures as I wrap up this session here of my segment before I pass it off to the next, of what Newman Guide schools are doing when they become Newman Guide recommended. And it's great to see their smiling faces and how they're celebrating their strong Catholic identity. A lot of schools have done the Newman Guide seal on a cake, little flags, picture opportunity. And so if you follow us on social media or get our newsletters, you'll see more examples of these things. The Newman Guide populating their website. And it has been a trickle effect. If we get one school in a diocese or a particular area, and then several more in that area then start applying for the Newman Guide. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Denise Donahue, our Vice President for Educator Resources and Evaluation.
Good morning. I'm Denise Donahue, VP for Educator Resources and Evaluation, and I think I have worked with almost half of you here in this room. What I have primarily been working with is principles of Catholic identity, the tools for renewal for the K-12 program, but also working on the standards for the higher education program. And I think I emailed many of you copies of those standards. We definitely do need your input, and we're hoping to gather as much from you even in this session and going forward so that we can put together some best practices, basically things that apply to Ex Corde Ecclesiae, the application, which we know is the 25th anniversary of that application in the United States at this point in time. But these are tools for renewal for the K-12 and for our institutions. You all are doing the best of the best. So we want to glean that information from you to help other colleges also reach those standards as well. So I do the review for the K-12 program, the grad school program, the college program, and the curriculum providers. We also have hybrid schools that we review, and we're also looking at adult education programs as well. Created the Newman Guide standards for English, math, science, and history, and we're also looking at additional standards to add to that for our K-12 level. Latin, drama, SEL, which actually are virtue standards. So those will be coming down the line, hopefully before the end of the year. All of this is like, we have some really excellent institutions, and it's like, we're doing this well. Why do we need to work with the Cardinal Newman Society and become a Newman Guide recommended school? Well, I think Bob Pennefather said it best. It's like we're either iron sharpening iron or walking with that second apostle. Good schools, good institutions are always trying to become better. We never stop doing that. We're always self-examining ourselves, trying to become the best of the best. I'm also board chairman of NAPSIS. NAPSIS has been around since well, basically for 30 years. I've been with that institution almost 27 of those years in different capacities. This is an accreditation program. It has been in existence for primarily lay-run independent Catholic schools. Now, the exciting thing to watch for, which I think may be happening with the school choice program, is that these lay-run institutions may begin to proliferate. So we want to be there for them. We're low cost, we're one-day evaluation, and some really good news is that before, NAPSIS was primarily recognized by one state, and that was Missouri. Right now, we just entered into an agreement with WASC on the West Coast. We're also working with NCPSA in the southeastern part of the United States, and we're entering into an agreement with Catholic Education Fund so that our schools can also receive some of that school choice money. So if you're a NAPSIS school, you'll be a part of that. So that should be coming down fairly soon. I guess that's it. So I'm going to turn this over to Nicholas with the Newman Network.
Good morning, everyone. In a minute here, I'm going to give a short presentation, so I'll be talking a little bit more about the Newman Guide Network there as well. But thank you all for being here. We've had a wonderful packed afternoon yesterday with all of the fantastic talks and everything. So for those who don't know me, my name is Nicholas Reilly. I'm the Newman Network Coordinator at the Cardinal Newman Society. And as many of you have pointed out, I am the guy from the emails. So I basically help out with everything network related. I'm also very proud to be Patrick Reilly's son. And I just wanted to give a quick note here. Just as his son, the fruits of the Cardinal Newman Society, this week's summit, and my own personal faith formation, along with my mother, of course, have been the result of my father's sabotaging his own sleep schedule. So just quick thank you to him for that. So over the past year, I've had the distinct pleasure of working with many of you, putting together working group meetings, webinars, and the like, events like this as well. And so I just wanted to give a quick note on the importance of the Newman Guide Network as a whole. And this is something that's a little bit difficult to contribute to, as obviously you are all here because you all understand the importance of collaboration, right? You're all here to connect with each other. But I just wanted to give a quick thought here. After Kelsey Reinhardt's keynote yesterday, which was fantastic, I was inspired to go scroll through Google and look at some G.K. Chesterton quotes, because he's fantastic. And one of them really leapt out at me. Sorry, I don't have any citations because it's Google. Sorry to all the professors. But the quote allegedly from G.K. Chesterton goes like this. A dead thing can go with the stream, but only a living thing can go against it. And I just thought that was very relevant to our discussions here, as our mission and your mission is to promote the faith, promote Jesus Christ, who we all know is the truth, the way, and the life. So, my new definition of the Newman Guide Network, how I describe it is a collection of institutions full of life, living organizations who strive together against the current, because why do it alone, right? I know the current here can refer to a lot of things that we've brought up, that Kelly brought up, this demographic cliff, the culture of death that sort of seeks to overwhelm Catholic culture. Your institutions are working against that. I have personally benefited from the life found at Newman Guide colleges, having graduated from Christendom College last year. So I'm very happy to be here to promote Catholic education and to promote you and to promote collaboration. So just a couple quick notes about our network in practice. Obviously, we have events like this where we can all come together in person to collaborate and share thoughts. But we also have our Newman Network platform, which is our online private platform where we can share ideas. We have discussion posts, announcements. It's a place to set up meetings, set up dates and times, so all in one place, and just share important information. So quick note on that, if you are not part of the platform yet, and you would like to be, please let me know so we can get that set up. And then we also have, along with the platform, our various working groups at our meetings, which I will discuss in a little bit as well. So we love to see regular working group meetings, idea sharing, guest speakers, webinars, and the like. So I'll share a little bit more about this later. So with that, I will turn it over to Kevin. Are you next? Wonderful.
All right, so the idea is to give you tools. The idea is that what we have is to help serve you. So what I'm going to do is just outline a few ways that I think these tools can help you. As somebody who is on the other side as a vice president of marketing in the Newman Guide College, I was once called, actually direct message through social media, and they asked me how many people were on my staff. My first reaction was, I'm not going to share that because it's a competitor. I had one person on the staff, by the way, so I really didn't want to share that either. So when I did kind of come to my senses, I realized, you know what? How many students are in college right now? There's about 700,000. If you add all of your schools together, what do you think that number is? That's right. That's right. Very good. Did I give you that answer? Was it? Okay, good. And you were paying attention. That's very good. So Yeah, I mean, we have to expand the number of kids that are coming into Newman Guide colleges. And so the tools we're advocating here today are those things that are designed to help you. We have social media. I would love for everybody that is in charge of your social media to contact me. We're putting out social media, and then I see you're putting out social media occasionally, sometimes more persistent than others, but we need to connect. We need to make sure that what we're advocating for is what you're doing. We need to like, we need to raise our algorithm together. If we can do that, then we can gain greater notoriety for your organization and for Newman Guide colleges. That would be number one. The other thing is, when we started the Cardinal Newman Society podcast, we started in audible form only. And then it grew to a video format. And then what we tried to do was get with each of the higher up people at your colleges so that they could take the opportunity to explain exactly what the difference is between your college and anybody else's college. Now, the next thing we need to do is get with the consumers in terms of what are they looking for? What are the obstacles that keep them from coming to college at all? That is getting to be a rising concern because we have people like Elon Musk or others, Facebook, we don't have to go to college. So if we want them to see the benefits of that, we need to get deeper, and I need your help on that because you're in contact with the consumers every day. You're in contact with the students and the parents, oftentimes. So I need to hear their stories, and we need to be able to use the platform to advance our schools and colleges. Building a Newman Guide network, we say, is a seamless solution for Catholic families. Because what I looked for when I was a father for young children was not available. I didn't know of the Newman Guide. I didn't know, and there wasn't somebody that said, hey, when you drive down the street and you see a sign out front of a school that says this is a Catholic school, obviously I thought that was home. I was very disappointed in what I encountered. And so the idea now is that when you go by and you see Newman Guide recommended, but you go to our website, you can be assured of a certain level of quality. You can be assured of adherence. They're not going to invite speakers that are going to dissent openly from the church. They're not going to have theologians that get up and talk about the Bible is full of myths and legends. These are the things that we can help overcome because of the standards we create, because of rising, getting people to a higher standard. That is the idea of the high bar over here above Newman's head. The high bar is representative from birth to death. It stretches the entire page. The idea is that if you are in the Catholic education continuum, there's never a finished moment. Nobody in here is a finished work. So the more that we can gravitate toward the idea that you are a continuous Catholic learner your entire life, just because you graduate doesn't mean you're done. That's the idea that we're instilling with the Newman Guide. That's the idea of a lifelong pursuit of happiness. No saint ever thought that they were a finished work. The more that they knew, the more they realized they needed to do more. They needed to study. They were very humble in their pursuits. So these tools are available to you, the podcast, our social media. Please make sure that your people reach out to me and that we get connected and we make sure that we stay connected so that we can rise all boats together. All right? All right. What I want to do is, do we want to take a break or we want to go right into... I'm sorry we were a little late today. Our shuttle, which I boasted about last night because we were in the college, we were over at the hotel, was a half hour late this morning. And then couldn't find Catholic University of America, which we just said, we pointed toward the Basilica and said, just get there. We'll be good from there, okay? So sorry we're a little bit late today. Go right in. 5 minutes. Why don't we take a 5-minute break and we'll come back.